Hi, my name is Manish and I'm the founder and the CEO of insightsDNA. It's a digital analytics company and we just deal with data and the insights out of from that data. Now, if I tell you about my journey, I started my journey in 2012 with one of the consulting companies where I've learned about the team management, the project management and about the team collaboration. Then after working for from 3 years, I decided to jump on an e-commerce board just to understand the challenges and the requirements to start a new e-commerce business. Or I would say just to understand all those challenges which people face when they work in an e-commerce setup. I worked in an e-commerce setup for 6 years after completing my consulting experience, where I learned about the business challenges, the marketing, the importance of sale, the cash flow, the finance and everything. I learned 6 years and then I decided that I should start something, but I was not getting that time, or I was not getting that aha moment. But thanks to this pandemic and 2020, I thought that this is the right time to hit the iron hard, and yeah, it was nice. I just started my consulting company and it's doing fine. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I always got this question from everybody, right? Like, you had a good corporate life, you had a good experience, especially in the technology side and the industrial like analytics or data. I think I really want to start something my own, since childhood. I mean, when everybody was talking about that they have to be an engineer or doctor, I always said that I have to be a businessman. Now we have a sophisticated word, right, which is entrepreneur. So I guess thanks to this pandemic, which is 2020, I decided, because I thought that this is a challenge, this is a gap, because everybody is facing a gap with the digital side, and I thought it's a good moment to start something new, because everybody is facing a very common challenge. So I should start a consulting company so that I can fill that gap. And of course, thanks to my corporate career, I was fortunate enough to travel a lot in UK, across Europe, Southeast Asia, where I saw the future of tech, where I saw the future of digital before it was actually happened in India. Which is why I thought that if I'm going to start something, it should be in digital and technology. Yeah, it was pandemic, right? In pandemic, everybody was facing the same thing, right? They want to be digital, they are not very digital literate, and everybody is booming the e-commerce. They are trying to set up something specifically in the e-commerce because your kids are studying online, you are doing some online courses, you're working from home, and in fact you're working for home as well. So I decided that this is the rare skill which I have and I should start. And thanks to, of course, this pandemic, you can actually raise your voice across the globe. And I would say thanks to internet, specifically Google, right? So I have two challenges. One is my personal one, and one is, of course, the professional one. Let's talk about the personal first. When you are from a middle class background, the first challenge which you face specifically from your family, right? That why do you want to leave a day cushy job? And of course, especially at a time of pandemic. But yeah, I was determined. I had to convince my parents, though they were not convinced when I started. But now they are pretty much convinced, because now we are EBITDA positive. So they are pretty happy that it's good that you actually started your own chef. Now in professional, before pandemic, it was easy to gather a complete team and to take a decision collaboratively. After this pandemic, what happened? Everybody went online, and it was pretty difficult to have a one common goal in the entire business. So if you're handling an domestic, or I would say an international team, you have to see how you can have a clear communication and the transparency within the team. Culture is more important, and I did that. Yeah, it is. It's a challenge, I know. But I think if you have a right mix of talent and the technology, you can do it. It's just that you have to first focus on the culture. If you have that patience, especially, and you have that empathy towards your internal, or I would say external stakeholders, then you can create that culture, or I would say create that motivated and a very empowerment, I would say, ecosystem within your organization. And it's very important. So I did that. I use lot of automation and the technology, and of course I empower everybody in my team to have a personal growth as well. Not just the professional growth, but the personal growth as well. And it did pretty well, trust me. You have to just focus on the culture, and I did that. Yeah, it's a dream. I know. This is a dream which I dreamt about like maybe 20 years back or maybe 30 years back. I still don't remember. But I really want to make an impact at all the levels. People should see me not just as I would say a boss or a manager or a CEO or a founder. They should consider me as a good human being first. That Manish is a good human first. He's very empathetic, he's very ambitious, and he wants to build and remote, or I would say first consulting as a service and a remote international team where there would be no physical office. It is not just about the team, the client, but it is all about the trust which I'm trying to build. So I would say I should be remembered because of the culture, the transparency policies, and the kind of trust which I have on my team members. Yeah. uh, I'm still very new, if I'm being very honest. I'm not like a serial entrepreneur or a CEO of like having experience for like 20 years. I'm still very young, just 31 years old. I look old, but I'm not that old. But yeah, I would say uh, before pandemic, the marketing dynamics was very different, right? But after pandemic, the marketing dynamics are very different. You have to be very open with your team. You have to see how you can build that trust and how you can actually have a clear communication with each and every team member and the external stakeholder. You have to be laser focused with your business goal and the personal growth goal of each and every team member, or I would say whosoever you actually work with. So I would say it's just not a title, it's a responsibility. I know everybody gets fascinated about that title, right? You're a founder, you're a CEO, you have that funding, like 25 years old, 30 years old, maybe 40 years old. But you have to see how you can handle that responsibility. This is the same thing which you're doing with your family, because family is also responsibility, and for me, my team is my family.